G'day, it's Daniel Harford with Adam White from RSN 927's Breakfast Club in Melbourne. Great to be part of the Inside the Ropes team. We've been able to track down Dylan Perry, who last week took the silver medal at the Amateur Championship in the UK and today has shot a first round 66 6 under in the European Amateur Tournament. It's been good enough to join us. G'day, Dylan.
G'day, guys. How you going?
We are very well, thank you. Appreciate your time. Now, silver medal sounds terrific. How does it sit with you after what happened there at Royal St George's last weekend?
It's obviously a bit gutting, mate. Obviously it's a big disappointment, but you just look at the positives out of it and just try and roll over into this week. I've got another chance this week to qualify for the Open, so we just put our game face on this week and see what happens.
Going into the Amateur Championship over there at Royal St George's, what were your expectations? Because for those that don't know, you're in the final against Harry Ellis and ended up losing that in the 38th hole, so second playoff hole after a 36-hole showdown. What were your expectations going into that tournament?
I had some high expectations last year. It was my first time over, and I finished top 16. So I definitely, I had a high expectations of myself being the first time and getting to the top 16. So I didn't put too much pressure on myself. I just played how I always play and just stayed patient and ended up getting to the final, which I was stoked with. But obviously there wasn't the result I was after. But still a positive week for me and a good way to keep going forward.
Only two people have ever won the Amateur Championship from an Australian point of view, so it was an incredible achievement just to make the final. Have you dwelled on it? Have you lost sleep over what happened in the end? Because I want to sort of celebrate the fact that you got through to the final, but to be 4 up with 5 to play, how difficult was that to sort of come to terms with?
It played on my mind. It still plays on my mind now, but I just see it as you either you come out better out of it, or you dwell on it and you stay in the past. So for me, it's look to the bright side of things and go, look, I've got another chance this week. So I'll still lose a bit of sleep, over time, but you just got to let it go and keep moving forward.
I was tracking your progress through that final 18 holes just on the internet, and there was a couple of moments where you had a bit of bad luck and your opponent had a lot of good luck. Can you share a couple of those moments with us?
That's just golf. One example, he was par 4 over the hill type thing. Anyway, he's kind of carved it a bit right, and he's ended up on another tee, which was probably 50 to 60 metres right of where he needed to be. But that's just golf. You take the good with the bad. So he played much better than me down the stretch. So obviously I thought I played a lot better than him all day. But that's golf. It's just it just happens. So I had some good luck as well. So it's a bit of both worlds. So you just take the good with the bad, I guess.
The situation that you found yourself in there, what do you learn from that? Upon reflection, you sit there and you said before you can either dwell on it or you can take the positives and move on. When you're in that and living that moment, Dylan, what are you thinking? What are you trying to overcome?
Obviously you've got to get used to putting yourself in pressure situations. So it's all about learning how to handle it and basically, making sure you're doing the right things, not to get too caught up in the moment when you're on the golf course and all that sort of stuff. So, obviously, I was thinking a little bit about, what the outcomes are of, potentially winning the tournament. I think everyone in my position would have done the same thing, but, I hit a couple of bad shots down the stretch and he just took advantage of them and, I hit some good putts coming in that I thought I had, but it just wasn't meant to be. So we'll keep moving forward, and my time will come.
The that experience, I imagine, does hold you in good stead. And it obviously clearly didn't go the way you wanted to go. But I imagine even though you spend all this time on the range, involved in high-performance programs up in the amateur ranks, you actually can't train for that. You can't practice that situation. So living it, obviously, well, I would think would help you down the track. Do you reckon that's right?
Obviously, you're definitely right there. You can't practice these situations. So, I mean, the more chances you put yourself in these situations, the better you're going to handle them in the long run. So, so, you just got to put yourself there and just wait for the breakthrough, I guess.
Dylan, you're part of this amazing era of amateur golf in Australia. If you look back just in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, the calibre or the quality of the golfer that is coming through is quite extraordinary. What's your situation? You're 22 years of age. Is professional ranks, is it on the horizon? What's your plans over the next sort of 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's in my mind, that's for sure. Obviously, depending how the rest of the year goes, if it goes how I want it to, I'll definitely, do some tour schools towards the end of the year. Probably, just do our local Australasian one to start with, and maybe an Asian tour or something. And then sort of mid next year, I want to look to the Japanese tour. So obviously, it's not where I want to be long term, but it's definitely a good way to start.
Do you see what Brett Coletta, Curtis Luck, even one of the young guns, Ryan Ruffles, coming through and think that, they're having success since turning professional, that it can be a sort of a pathway that you can succeed at, seeing what they're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I played all my sort of junior golf and with those guys, so I was playing with them and saw how they played, and it gives me a lot of positives knowing that I was playing with them as an amateur and mixing with them. So, I mean, if I do everything right, I definitely think I can, be as successful as them.
Is it hard to be patient in that regard? Because you've seen that those guys particularly have gone on and hit the pro tour and competing pretty well at that level. Is it hard to sit back and be patient and bide your time?
Yeah, it is, because, as an amateur, you're always burning money, going everywhere, but... as bad as it is, but you got to do it, I guess. It is. How do I say it? It's hard knowing that you just got to know when you're going to be ready for it. It's hard to prepare yourself. You get to the top as an amateur, and then once you turn pro, you're straight back at the bottom. So you've got to, make sure you're prepared for that and all that, and all the things that go along with that. So, it's definitely an exciting time at the same time. But, you just got to make sure you're prepared for it, that's for sure.
It's an interesting scenario you paint there, because you go from being the kingpin in the amateur world to being the absolute bottom of the food chain in the professional ranks. It's like going from primary school to secondary school and having that sickening feeling about how you're going to fit in and where you're going to land in the grand scheme of things. Who helps you with that, prepare for that? I mean, obviously, your constitution personally would obviously play a big part in that, but are there people outside in your circle that try and help you prepare for that mentally?
Yeah, you definitely need good people on your side to sort of, push you in the right directions and keep your head straight. So I think, you talk to all the guys like all the young guys that have turned, you try and have a chat with them and try and get their insight of how they dealt with it all, and just try and get as much information out of people to sort of prepare yourself for it. But as you said, it's kind of all up to you at the end of the day. So you just got to be as mentally strong as you can and just take it all in your grasp.
Now, Dylan, I know that we've dwelled on what happened over the course of the weekend, but you've got another chance to get into the Open Championship this week, and it's the European Amateur, and it's at Walton Heath, and it's a stroke play event,
Yep.
And you've started the tournament incredibly well, considering all that's happened over the last week or so.
Yeah. No, I'm stoked the way I started this week. A lot of people back home are proud of me, considering how last week went, and it's good to bounce back off what was a bit of a disappointing finish. So it's a positive start in the tournament the way I did, and hopefully we can just carry on for the rest of the week and just and see how we go.
And can I say how well you handled it publicly in the aftermath? It was a very classy performance from you, Dylan, and I know a lot of people back home are very proud of not only getting through to the final, but how you handled the disappointment. It was a very classy effort.
No, thank you guys. It's much appreciated.
Well, you got yourself 6 under in the first round there at the European Amateur there at Walton Heath. Hopefully, we see many more of those 6 unders for the remaining rounds in the tournament. Dylan, you're a credit to yourself, young man. It says a fair bit about your ability to bounce back after a bit of a setback last week. So, again, the Australian golfing future is looking very, very bright. We wish you the best of luck this week. Hope it goes really well. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, guys.
So Dylan Perry